Welcome to Scramble Game Show. Today, we are very fortunate to have a guest, a Somer resident, but currently studying at Penn State. He's back home from a winter break. We invited this gentleman. His name's James Gherardi, and he is a Boy Scout. In fact, this trip he's back home to receive the highest honor in a Boy Scout as a Eagle Scout. So let's welcome our guest, James.
Hi.
Thank you for appearing at our show. And
Pleasure.
How long have you been back?
I came back on December 22nd, and I'll be returning back to school on Sunday, the 13th.
Good. Well, I'm glad that we caught you for a few minutes to be on our show. And by the way, your ceremony at this Eagle Scout ceremony was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd really love to hear about your Eagle Scout career. Before we do that, why don't you first introduce yourself a little bit? Tell some of our audience and who you are.
Okay, I'm James Gherardi. I'm a freshman at Penn State. I've lived in Somers all my life, and recently, over the summer in June, I graduated from Somers High School, and so I'm currently a freshman. I'm undecided. I don't know what I want to study. I'm just exploring a lot of different majors right now. But I've been a Boy Scout since 5th grade, so for the past 8 years.
That's a long time. Huh?
Yeah, and I was pretty active in high school. I played sports. I did football, winter and spring track. I was involved in music. I played cello. I was pretty involved. I was in a lot of clubs. But Boy Scouting has been a major part of my life since.
Well, if you can sustain 8 years, obviously you really enjoyed it. Otherwise, you would have probably either stopped or something. There's so many other activities you've been doing. Yeah. So why don't we talk a little bit about how do you get started, and over the 8 years, what sort of activities that you do and interest you. I'm sure some of the younger audience right now may be thinking about joining Boy Scout, and that your information would be very helpful.
Right. Well, I'm in Troop 376 in Somers, and I was a Cub Scout.
Right.
Meaning that's the preliminary Boy Scouting group.
Yeah.
And then in 5th grade, I'm not sure what the age requirement is, but there's an age requirement to join Boy Scouts, and then once you hit that age, you can join a troop, whichever troop you'd like in your town, and it's just you explore which one interests you the most. I chose Troop 376 because my brother, who's also an Eagle Scout, was from Troop 376, and I had always kind of tagged along with him and really loved the things that they did, and really got to know the guys, and it was a lot of fun from day one, and it's just a great time.
So your brother is also an Eagle Scout, right?
Yeah.
So wow, 2 Eagle Scouts in the family, huh?
2 Eagle Scouts.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's 2 years older than you, or a year?
He's 4 years older than me.
Oh, I see. So when you say tag along, really tag along for quite a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So basically, in scouting, there's tons of different events and things that you can be doing. There's campouts, there's hikes, there's summer camp, there's weekend trips going rafting, mountain climbing, countless outdoor activities.
Right.
And I would just kind of follow him along, and because Cub Scouts is fun, but it's not as intense. It's not at the level that Boy Scouting is at. So when my brother was out doing stuff, I'd just want to be out there with him too, exploring what they were doing. So that's what kind of piqued my interest, I guess, was being outdoors and just having fun.
Right. So you mentioned, of course, 376 is your troop. How many other troops in town, Somers?
There are 3 troops total in Somers. There's Troop 228, Troop 1, and my troop, Troop 376.
I see. Okay, so 3 troops. So in principle, anybody wants to join Boy Scout could sort of interview with the different troops,
Right. Yeah.
and make a choice.
Yeah.
Right. And how does say your troop, for example, 376, sort of recruit young boys into the Boy Scout?
Well, we have fathers who have younger sons in the Cub Scouts, and at their meetings we'll kind of say, oh, Troop 376 has a meeting coming up this Tuesday night. We have meetings on Tuesday nights,
right.
And they'll come along with a group of their Cub Scouts and a group of their friends, and they'll sit in on one of our meetings, and right. The boys of the troop will get to know them personally, and we'll engage them in some of the activities that we'll do at weekly meetings.
Yeah, I think brothers seem to sort of attract the younger brothers into the same
right.
troop, right?
Yeah.
So for that, I can speak for myself. Yeah. We in the Chan family, we have 4 boys, right? Now already 3 is in 376. Yeah. The 4th one is, couldn't wait. I guess he's tagging along every event, right?
Yep.
So brothers do bring.
Yeah, it's definitely a family affair.
Yeah, family affair. So Tuesday nights, the 376 troops always meet at middle school, right?
Middle school.
Yeah, so that's good. People can just simply walk in and watch what they're doing, and the parents can talk to other parents and see, whether they want to bring their
right.
kids in, right?
Yeah.
So that's very good. Now let's go back to the topic of Eagle Scout. That's highest honor, right? And it's not that every Boy Scout actually achieving that level, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about it. How do you feel? I mean, is it a lot of work, a lot of stress, or you think this is something that you want everybody to pursue it?
Well, I really think that you should go into Boy Scouts having the mentality that you should want to become an Eagle Scout. Mm-hmm. You should join Boy Scouts, having that being your ultimate goal.
Right.
So, since day one, I had always kind of aspired to be an Eagle Scout, and it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of hard work. Something like 5% of the Boy Scouts who are in the country only become Eagle. So 5% out of millions only become Eagle Scouts. So it's a huge honor, and but it just doesn't come overnight, and you have to receive it before your 18th birthday.
That's a criteria.
That's a requirement.
Complete the whole requirement before 18.
Your project must be completely finished before your 18th birthday, which was kind of a struggle for me. I turned 18 in October, so I had gone off to college
I see.
With my project still not being finished, and I kind of just kept telling myself that I had one more week or I had one more month, and then it came down to 2 weeks before my birthday, and I still had stuff to do. So I would recommend to any Eagle Scouts out there or wannabe Eagle Scouts that you definitely get all your requirements, all your work done, all of it out of the way well before your 18th birthday.
So you're referring to the final project, right?
Right.
Now, before that, what are the criteria you have to fulfill before even you can undertake the project?
Well, obviously you have to complete all the ranks of scouting, starting with joining the Scouts. You have to be a legitimate Boy Scout. Then there's Tenderfoot,
yes,
Second Class, First Class, Star Scout, Life Scout, and then once you've completed all the requirements for those ranks,
each rank, the requirement is a merit badge or some activities you have to do, right?
Right. There's certain requirements to attain each rank, a certain amount of merit badges, a certain activity that needs to be completed outdoors, that sort of thing. And then once you've completed all those ranks, then you need to complete all the requirements.
You have those badges with you, right? You're wearing them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you take them out and show some of the badges that represent what activities you accomplished, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is fantastic. Well, let's start from the bottom. This way. Sorry. Yeah.
So There are some merit badges outlined in silver. The silver denotes the requirement badges, the required badges for Eagle Scout. So this is environmental science, physical fitness, citizenship in the community.
Yeah.
Those sort of things are required. Merit badges that aren't required, you can do just for fun at Scout camp or with a merit badge counselor from your troop just for fun. This one's canoeing, it's not required.
I see.
Cooking, again, not required. Basketry.
Oh, I see. So some you did just for fun and not required by the
Right, not
ranks.
for Eagle, but you do need a certain number of merit badges to receive a rank. So, for example, I may have used basketry, cooking, and oceanography to receive my star
or something.
or something.
Okay. Right,
you know.
I see.
So, yeah.
So there is some kind of a planning required actually when you go into this, since you only have so much time, and particularly summer season and so on. You should plan ahead,
Right.
and to acquire these badges or doing the activities, so that by the time you reach say 17, you are pretty much have all the requirements fulfilled, right?
And then there are 12. I'm pretty sure there are 12 required merit badges, and then I have 25 total, and then you need a certain number, I'm not really sure, however many, non-required.
I see.
So on top of the actual requirements for Eagle, you need to receive so many merit badges as well, which is another huge feat in itself. So
good. But these badges, I mean, very colorful, certainly actually represent very enjoyable activities. Not that something that is. So, tell me what among these, what is the best sort of you're interested in activity you enjoyed most?
all of them were a lot of work and a lot of fun. A lot of them I did at summer camp. Our troop goes to Camp Reed up in the Adirondacks for a week over the summer.
That's very nice.
And that's an opportunity to do some merit badges. But probably the one that interested me the most, probably citizenship in the world, maybe. A merit badge you wouldn't typically associate with Boy Scouting because it doesn't have that direct impact
What's
with the outdoors.
involved in that particular?
Citizenship in the World is a merit badge that asks the Boy Scout specific questions about his being a citizen in a world community. Because too often people associate themselves with just living in a town or a state, and they don't really, they're not aware that they live within a world community, and there are tons of different cultures and different people that live out there that you need to explore.
Well, that's very important. In fact, our school system in Somers actually focus on the theme to be global
awareness.
Yes, awareness. Yeah, that's great. Yep. Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about your project. And certainly the project was the sort of finale you have to accomplish. Yep. So what is your project, and tell us a bit about it?
Well, my project wasn't a typical Eagle Scout project. I did a brochure for the Somers Historical Society of Somers.
Yeah, A Kid's Guide to Somers History. Very good title. Yeah.
That's the title, and it has 5 major historical landmarks in Somers that I talked about and highlighted. It has pictures. It's written in a kid-oriented format, so it's easy for kids to read, but it's extremely informative too, so if an adult were to read it, they would,
So you start out doing some research, and visit these places, take pictures or talk to some historians, right?
Well, yeah, so the Eagle Scout project, not only is it a service project, it's also a leadership project, so I would have scouts from the troop come and join me. We met almost every time at Reese Park in Somers, and 2 of my sites that I used in the brochure are located in the Reese Park area. So that was a perfect location for us to meet. And at meetings we would go and I took pictures with the scouts, and the scouts would take notes. We worked with Mrs. Zimmerman. She's the president of the Historical Society, and she was a huge resource for us, and wonderful to work with. And yeah, so we started research. We went to the library. We we used online resources, literary resources. So yeah, we did a lot of research.
Yeah, this is when you say it's not very typical. Probably you mean that most Eagle projects, they seem to be either outdoor activity of some kind, right?
Right. You see a lot of Eagle Scout projects involving benches or gardens or
construction or something.
Right, construction, that sort of area. And I could have done that too, and that just wasn't an interest for me.
No, I think this is wonderful. I mean, certainly for the town, I think it's very, very helpful for kids, particularly if they move into town or just move into the school. This is very informative.
And I also distributed it to local real estate agencies
that's
give
very
to
good.
New families. Yep.
Now, this cover page, this picture, where is that taken?
This is a walkway at Muscoot Farm.
Oh, Muscoot Farm. Yes.
Yeah, and then.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Right. They have this. Yeah.
And then throughout, I give an introduction, and then the 5 sites with pictures. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, easy to read.
Okay, let's just go over the 5 sites names and quickly see, what they are.
Okay, I started with Mount Zion Church, which is located in Reese Park. Mount Zion Church is one of the oldest Methodist buildings in the country. It was built in 1794.
Wow.
It has a cemetery of its own. A lot of wealthy Somers aristocrats from who had moved from New York City are buried there. So yeah, that was my first site. Next was Muscoot Farm, along Route 100.
Right.
That's
a very fun place for kids.
Yeah, that was another part of the project that I liked. I chose all the sites because they were, easily accessible to kids and families. So, yeah, Muscoot Farm, the middle school, which many people don't associate with being, a historical landmark, which it definitely is. The Wright Reese Homestead, also in Reese Park, built in 1756, and the Elephant Hotel.
Right, so, that famous Elephant Hotel. So these buildings, all 100 years or so. And more,
oh yeah, they're except for the middle school. Middle school was built in the 30s. So with the exception of the middle school, they're all over 100 years old. The Elephant Hotel recently, as you may know, became a national historical landmark, which was a really big deal for our town.
Right.
A huge accomplishment for the Historical Society.
Right,
so.
right. Well, certainly Somers did have a lot of history.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So. Good. So this project sort of put you on top. You received your Eagle honor. Now, when you get Eagle Scout, you're not sort of quitting, right? You're still part of the Boy Scout for life, right?
Right.
So what do you anticipate to do in the future?
I hope one day, when I'm coming back to be an assistant scoutmaster, just help out whenever possible, come to meetings, go on weekend trips, campouts, that sort of thing. And, it's a part of you that'll never leave. You have those skills for the rest of your life that you learned in Boy Scouts. So it's a great thing to have.
Yeah, this particularly talking about this so-called leadership. You really want to work with younger people so that you.
Right. Yeah. So you can leave behind almost a legacy and teach kids who can look up to you and that need your guidance. So yeah.
Right. And this camp you mentioned, the Reed camp. As you know, that I actually joined a couple of summers there too. I almost felt I had traveled a lot of places, many places. My vacation in the past seemed to be always mixed with work, so it's not that pure vacation. So this camp that I went to with you guys, Boy Scouts, actually seemed to me is truly real vacation. Okay, I don't speak that or talk about that too much because I think maybe then my wife would be jealous about it. That week in the camp, first of all, you're totally free from outside interference.
Yeah, completely isolated.
Right?
Yep.
You are just doing things with Boy Scouts.
Yep.
Right? One thing I like it about it is the activities are beginning from 6 o'clock, say polar bear dipping to evenings, and there's some little bit activities sort of beyond the official hours in the evening.
Yeah.
Those are all fun, right? And I personally feel that for kids to be away from home, it accelerates their growth. It's just tremendously.
Yeah.
I remember actually not too many. Occasionally, there are kids arrived at camp and felt homesick.
Right.
And I remember I had to sort of take on to help the situation, but that disappeared very fast.
Yeah.
And the kids really grow up. This is the process. So I highly recommend Boy Scout definitely take these summer camps and extend the time.
Yeah.
So when you come back, you probably could continue the activity. They call it camp counselors, right?
Right.
To be leaders there.
Yeah, I mean, summer camp, Camp Reed, and it's in the Adirondacks. It's honestly the most fun that you'll have being in the Boy Scouts. It's a week long, and you're just literally in the mountains, in the woods.
Right.
I completely isolated from the real world, and it's just like a complete week with your troop, just really getting to know yourself and your friends, and it's just great. You have so many opportunities to do so many different things, and yeah, I definitely would recommend that all scouts take advantage of the opportunity to go there.
So this vacation, this few weeks, is going to be gone pretty quickly, and you say you were going back on Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah, so it's really, really fortunate that we could get you on our show, okay?
Yep.
And I would like to invite you back again, and particularly when you decided what you going to be major, what you feel like to talk about your college life. Penn State is a good school, and lots of activities there, right?
Yeah.
So keep us in mind, and when you're in town, let us know. Perhaps we will, get you on our show again.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Now, I know you actually have another engagement this evening, so we'll try to wrap this up in a way that not disturbing the show. We're going to continue the show on, so we'll shake hands. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you very
having me.
much. And
Yep.
I'm really, really happy that you made the Eagle Scout and made a
you.
lot of impression on me and everybody else. That Troop 376 really should have more Eagle Scouts.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Definitely.
Okay.
Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. We are going to use the rest of the time to introduce to you a new Scramble game. The audience that are familiar with our show probably knows that Scramble is a set of cards of alphabets, but was designed in such a way that it can be played in many ways, and the games just keep on growing. We now probably has more than 30 games you can play with the same set of design. So if you have a set of Scramble cards, and you can play any of these games. Some are group games, some are partnership games, some are individual solitaire games. So today we are going to introduce a game which was created by you-know-who, Dr. Wordman, who actually created this game over the holidays as Christmas. In fact, this game was created and dedicated for our show director, Teresa L. Chang. So this game is named Scramble TLC Bridge. Now, bridge, you think, we heard this word, bridge, wow, that's a different game. Let me tell you how these are related, and I would explain to you why we named this as a TLC bridge game. Bridge game use poker cards. There are 52 cards, 4 suits from ace, king, queen, jack down to 2. People are familiar with that. And the bridge game is typically played by 4 people and in 2 teams. And you play with a partner. And the whole idea in this bridge game is to be able to communicate between the 2 partners to understand each person's cards as much as you can, and then you play the game sort of like a bridge. I don't know whether that bridge work it means that way or not, but it's sort of playing this game by knowing your partner's cards so that you can win a particular contract. Now, if you are familiar with the bridge game, you know what contract means. If you're not, I'll explain briefly. Generally, when you have a set of cards, you have high cards that like ace, king, queen, jack are high point cards, and you have low cards, and you have to know how many combinations you have in order to predict how many tricks you can make or you can win. The 4 suits in bridge games defines so club, diamond, heart, spade allow you to bid in each suit and how many tricks you can win as a total game. Therefore, you heard the bridge people, well, let's begin 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 club, 1 no trump, and this kind of bidding all the way as high as, of course, to 7, because 1 level means you can make 7 tricks. And total, of course, 13 tricks, because 52 cards divided by 4 is 13 each. So 1 level, you make 7 tricks by requirement, and 2 level, 8, and so on. And 7 level, you have to make all 13 tricks. And that's the fundamental of a bridge game. Now, in the bridge game, there is a version. Actually, some people call it honeymoon bridge. Honeymoon bridge means actually the bridge is played by 2 people, not 4 people. I mean, you can sort of deduce the reason